stuff that enters the market, from the hamster shredder that's coming up to the
batter blaster,
which is pancake batter in sort of a Cool Whip type container that shoots your batter out at you. From diet pills like Ally to the sleep pod that you see up at the top of the screen, to the potato chips with caffeine in them, to the medicine cup that's got candy coating on it that hopefully will help your child want to take their medicine. How can you decide if these things are truly new and innovative, or if they just have something new slapped on them? And so that led me to a long research project looking at what exactly is innovation, and at what point is something truly innovative, and at what point is it advertising. And so that starts me with this first definition that essentially says anything new is innovation. And the quote here is from Rogers and Shoemaker from 1971, saying, "Innovation is an idea, practice, or object perceived as new by the individual or by the organization." So if you sat in your home and you created the pancake blaster, even though the pancake blaster already existed, they'd say it's innovative. Rogers is best known for his work on the diffusion of innovation, the idea of how long does it take for the thing that he says is innovative, be anything new to you, how long does that thing take to be adopted in the marketplace? And so there you look at the 3 different S curves for 3 different innovations as they hit the market. And so he goes on to do a lot of work on the rate of adoption and how long does it take for a product to be what he says is then diffused within the market. So the more creative way to say this is from Bob Metcalf, the founder of 3Com, who says that invention is a flower, innovation is a weed. And with the idea here being that there is perhaps a slight distinction between the thing hitting the market, the diffusion, and the idea itself, which he calls then the flower. Making this a little bit more scientific is Schumpeter, who is, pardon?
Making the destruction.
Yo, thank you very much for destroying. So Schumpeter is an economist, and he studied how research and development, especially when it's done within the context of looking at technology, can change an economy, and specifically how it can change an industry. So when a disruptive technology is introduced, it can then destroy the existing industry, creating a whole new industry. And so he makes the distinction between the invention itself, our flower, and innovation, which is the commercialization of the flower, and diffusion, which is that rate of adoption and the S curve. Gomulka takes this a little bit further, and he's another economist, again looking at how value can be created within an economy through innovation. And he says, again, that invention is still our flower. Innovation, however, he says, is the first instance of the commercialization of the invention. And diffusion to him is everyone else making use of that innovation. So, for example, if you think about self-check machines, the first instance of a self-check machine would have been the innovation, and everyone else, as they adopt it in their industries or into their firms, is the diffusion of innovation to him. So libraries, according to him, were not innovative when they used the self-check. They were doing the diffusion of innovation. Okay, so here's truly the first time that I saw anyone use the word value in terms of innovation, and this comes from a special issue of The Economist that looked at innovation. And in that, there was a quote from the chief learning officer, and I love that there are firms that have chief learning officers, from Goldman Sachs, who says, innovation is fresh thinking that creates value. And I really do like that they are making the intent that it's not enough that you had an idea, that you're looking at something that will actually help or create value. In this case, when you're thinking about commercial entities, that value is numerically determined. So finally, we get back to the product idea. So now that I've got sort of a sense in my head of what is innovation and how can we think of it as something more than the marketing new label being slapped on something, there is a company called Product Scan who makes it their business to look at new products and determine whether or not they think that things are innovative. And so these are their definitions. So according to them, something is innovative if it allows for a company to have a new position in a market, if it creates a new benefit through packaging. So the idea of, say, the Campbell soup that used to just be in a can, and all of a sudden Campbell soup dumps their soup into something that can be microwaved. That then becomes, for them, the new packaging that is innovative. A new formula, so you add a new something to your hair cream and it's silkier. New technology, and notice that they don't actually say that new technology has to provide a benefit. If there's just a new technology, they say it's innovative. If it allows the firm to enter a new market, then it's innovative. And if it provides a new way for the firm to sell or to merchandise, they say it's innovative. And just to give you some statistics, they took a look just in 2003 at 33,678 items that had been introduced in the US, which is a lot. And only 8.5% of them were considered innovative based on their own criteria. Okay, so then my last look at this was Booz and Allen, and they did a really extensive study of 13,000 products from 700 companies over a period of 8 years. And when they looked at them, what they found was, of the things that were introduced, those things that had the new label slapped on them, only 10% of them were new to the world, truly new as in the innovation that, say, Gomulco would have defined as new and innovative. 20% were new to the company itself, and then the rest of these wouldn't really get to be defined as innovative at all. So it's things like line extensions. So the idea, do you know what line extensions are? Do I need to explain that one? Oh, you don't know. Okay. So line extensions is, so say, I'm going to stick with my hair stuff. So say Clairol has already a line of shampoo. They add the shampoo that helps keep your hair straight. That's a line extension. So you're sticking with the shampoo, but you're changing it slightly. So 26% were line extensions, 26% were improvements, which is a nice fuzzy word, improvements of some sort, or revisions, which could mean that it's actually just sort of reintroduced. 7% were product repositionings, which means that the product already existed somewhere in one market and they introduced it into a new market. And 11% were cost reductions, which often just means they found a cheaper way to do it. And so they just changed the price on it. Which means to me that as I start to look at how libraries are innovative, that I have to be very careful about my definitions. And then leaves me to ask you, does that leave you with questions?
Go back to the last slide. How many does it apply to your local public library?
I think you get line extensions and product repositionings.
No
So,
improvements or revisions?
To my local library?
Would you apply that same set of criteria that my set slide or two back to libraries, or would there be anything you would edit or revise about that criteria?
I kind of like that one. Although what I don't like about that one is the idea that just by there being a new technology that's innovation. I don't think that that's enough. I think there needs to be an idea there somewhere, and it needs to be tied to something.
And what about packaging? Do libraries really do packaging, do you think?
I'd say that packaging of services.
The environment. Yeah.
The environment, the building itself, some could say is a package. Some people would say that the website is a package.
Yeah, yeah.
depending on how you're defining package.
Right.
The idea of whether or not you put the book cover on the book or not.
Right.
Getting back to the narrower definition of innovation, would you describe the World Wide Web, for example, as innovative?
Which definition do you want to use?
Or under the most restrictive?
Under the most restrictive, which I'd say would be Gomulka's.
Yeah.
So if you think about, let's go back to that one. So do you think that the World Wide Web was an invention? Do you think that it became commercialized at some point?
Well, Al Gore certainly does.
And I think that would be the question I would ask, is would you say that it's the invention and what's happened to it is the commercialization?
Or was it a diffusion and combining of previous inventions that became the web? Was it the combination of prior ideas and leaving stuff out that made it?
The nature of
Well,
the
he
web.
would say that if all you're thinking is that you're combining ideas together and creating something new from it, that's still innovation.
The web is collaborative, so
Collaboration
by
is
its very
fine.
nature is kind of a different thing than a product.
Yeah, so that's why it was sort of tied with the commercialization of that definition is, do you think that the creation of the World Wide Web was commercial? Because his definition is very much tied to commercialization.
Well, there's a lot of people that think the web has been commercialized because it was initially started for government scholars, and now it's a lot of .com.
Right. And that doesn't fall well under his definition, does it? So the creation, I would say, would have been sort of between the invention and innovation stage. What's happened to it, it might be past diffusion.
So how does this all help you in your goal to introduce innovation in libraries?
So the next step of this then is to try to take a look at what exactly do libraries need and how can that then be discussed in a way that makes sense. And I think until I know what the words mean, I can't go out and do my evangelical, you need to innovate, without knowing even what I think innovation is. So it's really important to me to be able to know what that definition is that I'm tying to.
Did I send you all my little sort of summary of the summit that I sent to the faculty? Oh, okay. Well, I put on reserve a couple of things you should take a look at. Then. I'll send that to the group.
Great.
You did bring some.
Yeah. That's right. I did. I thought I saw it. There were,
But there's that one on value.
right, but Gloria Coles in particular, I think, has some ideas about sort of, especially public libraries and innovation with respect to reusing the buildings and sharing buildings with other community services and things.
Whether they do that at San Jose.
The library again.
Yeah.
That was built for that.
She did this in Flint, Flint, Michigan.
Great. I think I still have a couple
Yep.
minutes.
Yep.
Yep.
But it's
The other thing that I
joint
read,
use,
just
so
two
it
things.
was built for
The
them.
first thing is many people are beginning to think about cost reduction as a form of innovation. The other part is that public library, especially in smaller communities, can sit along with other community activities or events. So for example, if you build a gym, you can sit a library beside the gym. So somebody going to the library can probably use the gym later. So libraries sit with community buildings or other community activities that people can go in and use different services that are provided.
So would that be an innovation in any of these definitions?
In any of these definitions, sure. I think any new service that you're offering, especially if you're thinking of just the Rogers term of a new something, because it shouldn't be thought of as just a new product. It could be a new workflow, which I think you were talking a little bit about workflows there too. A new workflow can be an innovation. It doesn't have to be some physical thing that you're selling. It can be something behind the scenes that's helping you. So yeah, business processes and workflows can also be innovated. And that's something I think libraries do very well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.